Buzz, 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 Yellowjackets Hive, and welcome back. I'm your host, Emily, back with another hiatus topical episode to keep the content flowing while we wait out this hiatus. And when I initially wrote out these notes, I was going to talk about how we didn't know anything, but yesterday I stumbled upon a piece of news that Christina Ricci was recently interviewed at an event promoting a new movie that she's in. And they asked her about when Yellowjackets would be back. And she said that her best guess is that filming for the next season will not start until around January of 2026. Womp, womp, womp. The writer's room hasn't even opened yet, which that takes time. And then they got to get all their ducks in a row and set everything up. And as you all know, this is a huge ensemble cast show. So I can only imagine how difficult it is getting everyone's schedules to line up in order to film. They just renewed it in May, and these things take time, unfortunately. So looks like we're in for another long wait, guys. Won't be as long as between seasons 2 and 3 because of the writers and actors strike, but yeah, stings a little bit. In the meantime, though, my thinking cap is on and running full speed as I keep coming up with ideas and topics for us to dive into to fill the Yellowjackets void that we all feel between seasons. And Yellowjackets, as we all know, has been packed to the brim with endless questions and layers of mystery. We've all had similar big picture questions as the show has unfolded, like who is Pit Girl, R.I.P. Mari, who's the real Antler Queen, and what's the deal with that symbol? Some of these mysteries have been answered, others are still up in the air, and there's honestly a good chance that some of them will never get a clear, straightforward answer for. That's part of the magic of Yellowjackets, though, in my opinion. It thrives on ambiguity, which, let's be real, has made this watching experience that much more fun. That being said, we tend to spend most of our time focused on the big questions. So for today's topical episode, I wanted to switch things up a little bit and highlight some of the smaller secondary mysteries that I've picked up on during my initial watch and especially during my rewatches. I have a running list of these curiosities, and I'm sure it'll keep growing as I rewatch or as the next season comes out. But I thought it would be fun to go through some of those questions that might never get a clear answer, just to hear your thoughts on them. So let's get to it. Number one would be Sammy and those disturbing drawings. We know why he drew them. That's not my question surrounding this. So that he wouldn't have to see his mom creepily perched in a tree outside his window at night. The more I look back on Sammy's season 1 storyline, the more my heart breaks for this kid. Imagine how confusing that it had to be, seeing your mom do all these strange and terrifying things with absolutely no explanation. And even worse, she doesn't remember doing any of it. So how could he even bring it up to her to talk about it? Here's my lingering question about Sammy and those drawings. Where in the world did he get the ideas behind the drawings? I pulled some screenshots of the drawings that I could find so that we can look at them together. Now, this one is an overall shot of a good portion of the drawings that we see. And the one in the middle, underneath the circle, to me, there's two people. I can't read what it says underneath the people in the drawing, but there's a divider between the two. To me, I took that as Sammy drew his mom and the bad one side by side. The eyes also I'm really curious about, given the fact that Taissa sees a man with no eyes. This one, you cannot tell me that that does not look like someone hanging from a hook like we see them do with Pit Girl in the finale of season 3. That is so specific, so graphic. Like, where did he come up with this? Who gave him this idea? It's not like a child, which I would guess Sammy is about 9 years old or so. They don't have thoughts like this to draw this kind of stuff. We have 3 people sitting or standing over top of a bed. This made me think about Travis's drawing with the 3 people and the person underneath. Not sure if they have anything to do with one another. And this one, you cannot tell me that that redhead in that picture is not Van. Highly doubtful that Sammy ever heard about Van. Maybe in passing, but Simone doesn't even know about Sam or Van. So how would Sammy know? Like, how these are some pretty dark and unsettling images for a kid his age. How does a child come up with this kind of imagery? And here's where it gets even weirder. Like I just pointed out, one of those drawings that you just saw features a redhead standing in the background. Hands down, Van. No, you can't convince me otherwise. Could Sammy have overheard bits and pieces about what his mom went through in the wilderness somehow? We know from the park incident, when he punched the kid for calling Ty a cannonball, that he definitely picked up on some rumors. But would he really be able to connect all those dots? Or could other Ty have accidentally spilled some of those secrets to Sammy when she was in that state? And obviously, she would have no recollection of doing that. I mean, after watching season 3, it's pretty obvious that Sammy knows when other Ty is in control. He clocked it immediately at the park. So that tells me that he has probably had multiple interactions with her. And who's to say how long she's been resurfacing for? Maybe other Ty never fully went away after they were rescued, and Ty just didn't realize it. This is one of those mysteries that I would absolutely love to get more answers on, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Number 2, the artwork that Shauna and Jeff found in Adam's studio in season 2. It is absolutely insane how much art he managed to crank out in regard to Shauna in such a short amount of time. Like, when you really think about it, from all the context clues that we've been given, the entire adult timeline, meaning everything from Shauna meeting Adam up to his death in the adult timeline in season 1, can't span more than 2 weeks tops. I actually noticed in season 1 that they went out of their way to mention what day of the week it is in almost every episode. One example that really sticks out to me is the morning that Shauna and Jeff are supposed to go to brunch with the Taylors for Jackie's birthday. Jeff walks into the kitchen and sees Shauna staring at the postcard, and he's like, "Are you ready to go?" And she's like, "It's Monday, brunch is tomorrow." And Jeff's response is basically like, "No, it's actually Wednesday and brunch is today. Did you think that it was Tuesday?" And to me, that moment felt intentional, like the writers were giving us a breadcrumb to track the timeline. So when you put it all together, Shauna knew Adam for barely any time at all. We saw them hang out a few times. We know he had a job as a mechanic. So when exactly did he have the time to produce an entire gallery's worth of Shauna focused artwork? And I pulled some of those images so we could go over them. Like, these are clearly Shauna. And I'm not an artist, so I don't know how long it would take to draw that, paint that, what have you. But based on the amount of pictures or photos that we saw that he created, that had to take hours. Like, here's more. There's one of Shauna behind Jeff's head, and that one had to have taken a lot of time. That is very detailed. This one's really creepy. It's clearly Shauna with the skin peeled back off of her face. And these were not all the drawings that we saw. This one gives you a better picture. There's more. Like, this apartment was littered with photos of Shauna. It was like she was the only subject matter that he cared about. So unless this guy locked himself in a studio and painted nonstop for days without sleep, it just doesn't make sense to me. The volume of pieces shows a serious obsession, like full-blown fixation. Even his text came off pretty intense. It's hard not to wonder if he did know about Shauna before their little fender bender. Maybe he didn't bump into her by accident. Maybe there was more intention behind it. And maybe we'll never know unless the writers randomly decide to resurrect the Adam Martin mystery in some future twist. Also, side note, I cannot be the only one who clocked that one of those drawings, the one on the right, is Natalie's eyes. That is not Shauna. That is 100% Sophie Thatcher's eyes, no question, which opens up a whole other can of worms. Why in the world would Adam be sketching Natalie, and teen Natalie at that? We know that Shauna found that unauthorized Yellowjackets book, Skin in the Game, in Adam's apartment before she killed him. So was Adam just a Yellowjackets obsessive playing some kind of long game? It's one of those mysteries that I don't think that we'll ever get clear answers on, but it's one that I can't stop thinking about. Number 3. If Lottie was being truthful about how Travis died, why did she conveniently leave out the small detail about seeing Laura Lee? I've said this since we first saw Lottie's versions of events. I don't buy it. I was skeptical and I still am, just like Natalie was. We're supposed to believe the button just got stuck. And it wasn't even that simple. The vision of Laura Lee distracted Lottie before the button supposedly malfunctioned. That's a major red flag. It has always felt to me that Lottie intentionally left Travis to die, thinking that this sacrifice would somehow bring the adult women back together. And it really honestly kind of did. If Travis didn't die, Natalie wouldn't have teamed up with Ty and Shauna to hunt down the blackmailer, and from there, everything snowballed. And we know Lottie believes sacrifices brought rewards. She was the ultimate true believer in whatever the wilderness represented. Meanwhile, Travis, who we now know by the end of season 3, had stopped buying into Lottie's mystical nonsense. He literally tried to kill her. So, what would make him suddenly change his mind and trust her enough to be part of this whole go as close to death as possible stunt? The omission of Laura Lee and Lottie's story drives me nuts. If she was telling the full truth, why exclude that part? Everyone already knew she was unwell, so I highly doubt that Natalie would have judged her or held it against her for seeing that vision of Laura Lee. So why hide it? And another thing, what happened to the money? Lottie drained Travis's bank account. Why? Did she funnel it straight into her intentional community? But for what? By season 3, it was clear that Lottie had plenty of resources. She handed Lisa $50K like it was pocket change. So why did she need Travis's money? Maybe this isn't a mystery everyone's obsessed with, but for me, it's one that I keep circling back to. There are just too many unanswered questions around Lottie, Travis, and what really happened that night. Number 4. How in the world did Lottie, of all people, end up with Jackie's necklace in the present day to give it to Kelly? We have all been tracking that necklace since literally the pilot, when we first saw it around Pit Girl's neck after the infamous fall. Then we see it go from Jackie to Shauna on the plane, supposedly to calm her nerves. Later, Shauna gives it back to Jackie midway through season 1. It stays with Jackie until her death, and then Lottie takes it off Jackie's corpse and puts it on Shauna before they cremate Jackie. After that, Shauna puts it on Natalie right before their first hunt, marking her, basically. Natalie wears it all throughout season 3 until it ends up on Mari before she gets hunted. And if I'm remembering right, we don't actually see anyone remove the necklace from Mari before, they butcher her. So, in the timeline of the wilderness, the location of the necklace is a question mark at this point. So how did it end up in Lottie's hands in the present? My assumption was always that Shauna would be the one to keep it, a piece of Jackie with her forever. I figured she would be territorial about it, like this belonged to my best friend. But clearly, the show started associating it with something darker. It kind of became a death sentence. Did Lottie smuggle it out and keep it tucked away all those years? Callie didn't even exist at the time that they were rescued, so it's not like she saved it specifically to give to her. Is it possible that Shauna actually had it and Lottie took it while she was at the Sadecki house snooping around. We know Lottie's got some sticky fingers. Shauna definitely looked shocked when Lottie had given it to Callie, and she saw it on Callie's neck, which makes me think that Shauna didn't even realize that it had ever left the wilderness at all. And there's Shauna's reaction. She was furious seeing Callie wear it, but wasn't she the one who put it on Natalie in the first place, marking her for death? It was weird seeing her project that rage onto Lottie, like it was Lottie's fault, but blaming others is kind of Shauna's whole personality. Either way, I'm dying to see how the necklace journey plays out in the wilderness timeline and if they'll actually show us who carried it out when they are rescued. Number 5. This one really gets me. If the man with no eyes was supposedly just a manifestation from Ty's childhood, why did Van, Akilah, and Shauna all see him at the same time during their shared hallucination? I know a big part of the fandom really wants there to be supernatural explanations behind the show's mysteries. And for some people, the explanation behind the man with no eyes felt like a little bit of a letdown. The show tells us that Ty first saw him in a commercial for Ozzy's ice cream parlor when she was a kid. And because of how that overlapped with her grandmother's death, remember her grandmother crying out, "Don't let him take my eyes." Ty mixed up her trauma, grief, and childhood memories into this memory of her grandmother seeing this eyeless figure. So when she saw that commercial again as an adult, it clicked. I have always been on team logical explanation, so that made perfect sense to me until the shared hallucination scene. That changed things. It's one thing for Ty to see him, but why would Van, Akilah, and Shauna all suddenly hallucinate him at the same time? And it wasn't just seeing him. They were aware of each other in this hallucination. Akilah even says, "Are you in my dream or am I in yours?" And that moment made me pause for a second. It's worth noting that Van at least knows about the man with no eyes in their teenage years in the wilderness. She follows Ty through the woods while Ty is being led by him to the symbol trees. But I highly doubt Ty was sitting around telling everyone, "Oh, hey, by the way, I see this creepy eyeless dude sometimes." So why did all 3 of them see the exact same thing? Sure, you could make a stretch and say that they all saw the same creepy ice cream commercial at some point, but that feels a little too convenient for me. I just have this feeling that there is more to it. Maybe something about the wilderness or some kind of deeper connection between them that hasn't been revealed yet. Either way, this moment made me question if the "it's all in Ty's head" theory is really the full story. I hope they circle back to it eventually because this is definitely a mystery that goes through my brain nonstop. I could go on forever with the amount of questions that pop up every time I rewatch an episode, no matter which season. Like, what was really going on with the dripping sounds Mari kept hearing throughout season 2? Was it just a creepy foreshadowing of her own death with her blood dripping onto the snow after the hunt? Or did it somehow tie back to Cabin Daddy or whoever built the cabin in the first place? And now with the bonus episode scrapped, we will probably never get those answers. Why did Ty's credit card get declined when she tried to pay for gas on their road trip to track down Alex or Melissa, depending on who you ask? Did Simone cut her off? And seriously, who pooped in the pee bucket? My money is on other Ty. Why didn't Misty ever find Crystal? Did she just give up too soon? Eventually, I'm going to compile a full running list of all of my lingering questions, basically everything that's been bouncing around in my head since my first watch of season 1, and I'll figure a way to share that with everyone if you're interested in seeing. But for the sake of time, we're going to stop here today. Now, I want to hear from you. What are some of your favorite lingering questions that you know or just think will go unanswered when the show is all said and done? Drop them in the comments and let's talk about it. Coming up next month, I will be continuing my character deep dive series. We have now officially covered all the survivors in the present day. So next up, it's time to start digging into the ones that we have lost along the way. And first up will be Lottie Matthews. We'll dig into her influence among the group and how it's fluctuated and changed, her eerie spiritual connection to the wilderness, the mystery of why no one seemed to know that she had been out of the mental institution for 25 years or however long she was out for. Misty, I'm looking at you, and so much more. It's been a lot of fun viewing the show through the lens of individual characters, examining their actions and motivations. I don't have a set date for the Lottie live stream yet, but keep an eye out. I will be posting an update about that within the next week or so once I figure it out. I am heading on vacation this weekend until the first weekend of August, so I will be taking a little bit of a breather from content creation. I still have a reel or two that I will drop in that time, but otherwise, consider me in vacation mode, guys. We all deserve it. I hope everyone has been enjoying their summer too. It has flown by, and I'll be back in a few weeks with the Lottie deep dive, and I hope you will all buzz and enjoy me for that. And with that, until I spill again.